I came to Christmas dinner, but Mom said, "You're a leech. You're not welcome. Get out." My dad and sister laughed behind her back. I smiled, got in the car, drove home, and did that. A week later, they started calling nonstop. Well, let's go. So, this happened to me last Christmas, and I'm still processing it all. I'm Claire, 33 years old, and I work as an editor at one of the big publishing houses here in the city. Been there for 5 years now, and honestly, the money is pretty good. Good enough that I bought my own house 2 years ago, got myself a decent car, and I love traveling. I try to take at least 3 trips a year to different countries. The thing is, I always brought my family along on these trips. My parents, who are both in their early 60s now, and my younger sister Emma, who's 28. We've been doing family trips together since I started making real money, and everyone seemed to love it. I pay for everything: flights, hotels, meals, the whole deal. It never bothered me because I thought we were all close. My parents live about an hour's drive from me in the suburbs. Dad worked construction his whole life until he retired last year, and Mom was a school secretary until she stopped working 5 years ago. They're good people, or at least I thought they were. Emma never really settled into a steady job. She's tried a bunch of different things, but nothing stuck. She worked at a coffee shop for a while, then did some freelance graphic design, but she was always asking for money help here and there. I should mention that I've been helping them financially for the past 3 years. I pay their mortgage every month, $200 that gets automatically transferred from my account. I figured it was the least I could do since Dad's retirement money wasn't enough to cover everything. Plus, I put them all on my health insurance plan at work, since it's really good coverage, and they couldn't afford their own. Anyway, Christmas was coming up, and we always celebrated at my parents' house. It's this big tradition we've had forever. So, I went shopping and bought everyone really nice gifts. I got Dad this expensive tool set he'd been wanting. Mom got a beautiful jewelry set. And Emma got this designer purse she'd been posting about on Instagram for months. I loaded everything into my car that morning and drove over there, feeling pretty good about the day. When I pulled up to their house, I noticed there were way more cars in the driveway and on the street than usual. I recognized most of them: my Aunt Karen's SUV, my Uncle Mike's pickup truck, my cousin's cars. Looked like they'd invited the whole extended family without telling me, which was weird, but whatever. I grabbed all the gift bags and walked up to the front door. I could hear voices and laughter inside, so I knocked. Mom opened the door, but something was immediately wrong. Her face looked all tight and angry, and she didn't step aside to let me in like she normally would. "Hi, Mom. Merry Christmas," I said, holding up the bags. "I brought all the gifts. Looks like everyone's here already." She just stood there blocking the doorway, looking at me like I was some kind of stranger. "Claire," she said, and her voice was cold as ice. "You need to leave." I thought I misheard her. "What, Mom? It's Christmas. What are you talking about?" "You're not welcome here," she said louder, so everyone inside could probably hear. "You're a leech, and we don't want leeches at our family party, so get out of here." I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. I tried to look past her into the house, and that's when I saw them. Emma was standing in the living room doorway, and she was actually laughing. Not just smiling, but really laughing like this was the funniest thing she'd ever seen. Dad was behind her, and he was laughing too. I could see my Aunt Karen and Uncle Mike and my cousins all standing around with these smug smiles on their faces like they were watching some kind of show. "Mom, what's going on?" I asked, still holding the stupid gift bags. "What did I do?" "You know exactly what you did," she snapped. "Now get off my property before I call the police." I stood there for maybe 10 seconds just staring at all of them. Emma was still giggling, and Dad had this satisfied look on his face like he just won something. None of them said a word to defend me or ask what was happening. You know what I didn't do? I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't beg them to tell me what was wrong or throw the gifts at them or make any kind of scene. I just smiled at my mother, turned around, walked back to my car, put the gift bags in the back seat, and drove home. The whole drive back, I felt completely numb, like this couldn't be real, like I was going to wake up any minute. But when I got to my house and sat in my driveway for a few minutes, it started to sink in. My own family had just humiliated me in front of everyone, called me a leech, and kicked me out of Christmas dinner. I went inside, opened a bottle of wine, this really good Pinot Noir I'd been saving, and poured myself a big glass. Then I sat down on my couch and tried to figure out what the hell had just happened. And that's when I remembered the phone call from Emma about a month ago. She'd called me all excited and happy, practically bouncing through the phone. She'd met this guy at some party, and apparently he was amazing and perfect, and she was head over heels for him. Claire, I think he might be the one, she'd gushed. He's so sweet, and he comes from a really good family, and he has money, like real money. I was happy for her. Emma had terrible taste in guys usually, so if she'd found someone decent, that was great news. That's awesome, I told her. I'm so happy for you. Yeah, and get this, she'd continued. He wants to take me on this amazing trip to Europe, like a whole week in Paris and Rome and everything. Wow, that sounds incredible. I know, right? It's going to be so romantic. Then her voice got a little different, kind of hesitant. So, there's just one tiny thing. I need you to give me $7,000 for the trip. I actually laughed because I thought she was joking. What? I'm serious. He wants me to pay for both of us to prove I'm not after his money. It's like a test to show I'm relationship material. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Emma, he's making you pay for his vacation. That's completely backwards. You don't understand. This is my chance to show him I'm serious. He's had gold diggers before, so he needs to know I'm genuine. If he has money and he's asking you to pay, then he's the gold digger. She started crying. Claire, please, this is my shot at real happiness. You make tons of money and this wouldn't even matter to you. I'm not giving you $7,000 to pay for some guy's trip. If he can't afford it, he shouldn't be asking you to go. You're going to ruin my life, she screamed, then hung up on me. An hour later, Mom called. Claire, what did you say to your sister? She's here crying because you won't help her with something important. She wants me to pay $7,000 for her boyfriend's vacation, Mom. So, you have the money, and this could be Emma's chance to finally settle down with someone from a good family. I was shocked. You think it's normal for a guy to make his girlfriend pay for his trip? Sometimes men need to test women to make sure they're serious, Mom said coldly. The only person making sacrifices would be me, since it's my money. Don't be greedy, Claire. Family helps family. I pay your mortgage every month. How am I greedy? That's different. We're your parents. Emma is trying to build a life, and you're standing in her way. Then she hung up too. That was a month ago. After that, complete silence. Nobody called me. Not Mom, not Dad, not Emma. I didn't call them either. Part of me was curious about how things worked out with this amazing boyfriend. So I checked Emma's Instagram page about 2 weeks after Christmas shopping started appearing in stores. There it was, a post from Emma with some dramatic quote about knowing your worth and dodging bullets. She'd broken up with the guy. I actually smiled when I saw it. I was right. He wasn't suitable for her at all. Any man who makes his girlfriend pay for his vacation isn't worth dating. And now here I was, sitting in my house on Christmas night after being called a leech and kicked out of my own family celebration. I finished my wine and really started thinking about everything. For 3 whole years, I'd been financially supporting my entire family. The mortgage payment to my parents wasn't just occasional help. It was $1,200 every single month, automatically transferred from my account. I never missed a payment, never complained about it, never asked for gratitude. Then there was Emma. She was always asking for money for little things. Claire, can you spot me $100 for groceries? Claire, my car needs repairs. Can you help with $200? It was never big amounts, so I never really questioned it. But looking back now, it happened at least once a month, sometimes twice. And the trips. God, all those family vacations I'd paid for. Every plane ticket, every hotel room, every meal, every tourist attraction. I'd taken them to Hawaii, Mexico, Spain, Italy. I always thought of it as my treat for them, my way of sharing my success. Mom and Dad would always say how grateful they were, how lucky they felt to have such a generous daughter. I'd also put them all on my health insurance plan at work. It cost me an extra $300 a month, but I figured they needed good coverage. Mom had used it just a few months ago for dental work, some expensive procedure that would have cost her thousands out of pocket. Let me add this up. Mortgage, $1,200 monthly. Random help for Emma, probably $200 monthly average. Health insurance, $300 monthly extra. That's $1,700 every month. Over $20,000 a year I'd been giving my family. And after all that, they called me a leech. Me, the person who'd been supporting them for years. Emma laughed when Mom kicked me out. Dad stood there smiling like I deserved it. All because I wouldn't pay for Emma's boyfriend's vacation. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Not the screaming, throwing things kind of angry. The cold, calculated kind of angry that makes you see everything clearly for the first time. I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't going to do it during the holidays. That would look petty and reactionary. No, I was going to wait until after New Year's, let them enjoy their Christmas celebration without their leech there, and then I was going to make some changes. I poured myself another glass of wine and spent the rest of Christmas evening reading manuscripts for work. It was actually peaceful. No drama, no demands for money, no family politics. Just me, my wine, and some really good books. For the first time in years, I had a Christmas where nobody expected anything from me. It was kind of nice. The week between Christmas and New Year's turned out to be exactly what I needed. I spent it productively, doing things I actually wanted to do for once. I met up with my friends Sarah and Jessica for dinner, caught up on some manuscripts from authors I'd been meaning to read, and just enjoyed the quiet of my house without any family drama. Sarah and Jessica were shocked when I told them what happened at Christmas dinner. "They called you a what?" Sarah had said, nearly choking on her wine. "After everything you do for them?" I didn't go into all the financial details, but I told them enough that they understood how crazy the situation was. Both of them said I should cut my family off completely, but I told them I was still thinking about what to do. By January 2nd, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I woke up early, made myself coffee, and sat down at my kitchen table with my laptop and phone. It was time to take action. First, I logged into my banking app. There it was, the automatic transfer I'd set up 3 years ago. $200 every month on the 15th, going straight to Mom and Dad's mortgage company. I'd never missed a payment, never even thought about canceling it, until now. I clicked on the automatic transfer settings and hit cancel. Just like that, it was done. The screen showed transfer canceled, and I felt this weird mix of relief and nervousness, but mostly relief. Then I went into my account settings and changed my password. I also went through and revoked access for anyone who wasn't me. See, I'd given Mom and Dad access to my online banking a couple years ago when Dad was having trouble with his own bank and needed to transfer some money quickly. I'd meant to remove their access afterward, but I forgot. Now I remembered that Emma had borrowed my debit card once last year, and I'd had to give her my PIN when she needed to get cash. Time to change all of that. New password, new PIN, new security questions. Done. Next was the health insurance. I called the customer service number and waited on hold for about 15 minutes before getting a real person. "Hi, I need to remove some dependents from my health insurance plan," I told the representative. "Sure, I can help you with that. Can I get your policy number?" I gave her all my information and then listed Mom, Dad, and Emma. The woman was very professional about it, just asking me to confirm their names and dates of birth. "These changes will take effect at the end of this month," she told me. "They'll receive notification letters in the mail within 5 business days." Perfect, thank you. After I hung up, I sat back in my chair and looked around my kitchen. 3 phone calls and about an hour of my time, and I'd just cut off over $20,000 a year in support to my family. The family that called me a leech and kicked me out of Christmas dinner. I wasn't done, though. I wanted to make sure there were no other automatic payments or shared accounts I'd forgotten about. I went through every single bill I paid, every subscription, every service. Turns out I'd been paying for Dad's Netflix account for 2 years because he'd mentioned once that he couldn't figure out how to set up his own. Canceled. I'd also been covering Emma's car insurance because she'd had an accident last year and her rates went up. Canceled. By the time I was finished, I'd cut off about $2,000 a month in various payments to my family. $2,000 that I could now save or spend on myself or invest. Money that had been disappearing from my account so regularly that I'd stopped even noticing it. Now all I had to do was wait. I didn't have to wait long. 3 days later, on January 5th, my phone started ringing. It was Mom's number, but I didn't answer. She called 4 times in a row, then stopped. An hour later, Dad called. I didn't answer that either. Then Emma called twice. I let them all go to voicemail and didn't listen to the messages. The next day, the text messages started. Mom. Claire, call me immediately. There's been a mistake with the mortgage payment. Mom. The bank says the automatic payment was canceled. Call me right now. Mom. I don't know what's wrong with your bank, but you need to fix this today. Emma. What the hell did you do? Mom is freaking out about some payment thing. Emma. You're being so vindictive right now. Just because I didn't take your advice about Derek doesn't mean you should take it out on Mom and Dad. Wait, Derek? So, that was the boyfriend's name. The one who wanted Emma to pay for his European vacation. Dad. Claire, your mother is very upset. Please call us so we can figure out what happened with the bank. I read all the messages but didn't respond to any of them. Let them figure it out themselves for once. The calls and texts continued for 3 more days. Mom was clearly panicking because she kept sending messages about how the mortgage company was going to charge late fees and how their credit would be ruined. Emma sent increasingly angry texts about how I was being petty and vindictive, and how I'd already ruined her relationship with Derek by not giving her the money. Actually, that part made me laugh. Emma was now blaming me for her breakup with Derek, even though I'd been right about him from the beginning. If a guy dumps you because your sister won't pay for his vacation, then he was never worth dating in the first place. On January 10th, I got home from work and found 3 people standing on my front porch: Mom, Dad, and Emma. They all looked angry and stressed out. Mom was pacing back and forth. Dad had his arms crossed, and Emma was checking her phone. I sat in my car for a minute, taking a deep breath. I knew this conversation was going to happen eventually. Might as well get it over with. I got out of my car and walked up to them. Hi. Don't you hi us, Mom snapped. Why would you do that? Dad demanded. Claire, you need to fix this right now. Do you have any idea what you've done? I unlocked my front door and walked inside. They followed me without being invited, which was typical. I know exactly what I did, I said calmly. I stopped paying your bills. Those aren't just bills, Mom's voice was getting shrill. That's our house. We could lose our house. Then you should probably figure out how to pay for it yourselves. Dad stepped forward. Now you listen here, young lady. I don't know what's gotten into you, but this behavior is completely unacceptable. What's unacceptable is calling me a leech after I've been supporting all of you for years. We never called you a leech, Mom protested. I stared at her. You called me a leech 8 days ago, at Christmas dinner, in front of the entire family. Mom's face went pale. I was upset. I said things I didn't mean. But you couldn't get upset over such nonsense, I shot back. I looked at the 3 of them standing in my living room, demanding explanations for why I'd stopped giving them money. After years of automatic payments and constant financial help, they'd never once thanked me or acknowledged what I was doing for them. And the first time I said no to something, they called me a leech. It's about the fact that you called me a leech, I said slowly. And leeches take money from people. They don't give it. So, I figured I should act more like the leech you think I am. The silence in my living room after I said that was intense. All 3 of them just stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Then Mom started backtracking fast. Claire, honey, I was upset that night. Emma had just broken up with Derek and I was disappointed. I blamed you unfairly, and I said something horrible that I didn't mean. You seemed pretty sure about it when you said it. I was angry. People say things they don't mean when they're angry. And what about everyone else? Dad laughing at me, Emma laughing, Aunt Karen and Uncle Mike smiling like it was entertainment. Dad looked uncomfortable. We weren't laughing at you, Claire. We were just caught up in the moment. I'd never cursed at my parents before, but I was done being polite. You all thought it was hilarious to watch Mom kick me out. Emma threw her hands up. Okay, fine. We messed up. But this is way too extreme. You're going to let Mom and Dad lose their house over one stupid fight? I'm not letting them do anything. I'm just not paying for their house anymore. But you've always paid for it. And apparently that made me a leech. Mom sat down on my couch without asking. Claire, please, let's all calm down and talk about this like adults. We made a mistake and we're sorry. Can't we just put this behind us and go back to normal? Normal? I laughed. You mean go back to me paying for everything while you all take it for granted? We don't take it for granted, Dad said. Really? When's the last time any of you thanked me for paying your mortgage? They all looked at each other. Nobody had an answer. When's the last time you thanked me for the family trips, or for putting you on my health insurance, or for all the random money I give Emma? More silence. You want to know what I realized? I continued. I'm not your daughter or your sister. I'm your ATM, and the only time you pay attention to me is when the money stops coming. That's not true, Emma protested. We love you. You love my money. No, we love you. Then why haven't any of you called me in a month? Not once, until the mortgage payment didn't go through. Mom started crying. Then we were giving you space to cool off after that argument with Emma. Giving me space? You were punishing me for not giving Emma $7,000. We weren't punishing you. You kicked me out of Christmas dinner, Mom. If that's not punishment, what is? Dad tried a different approach. Look, Claire, maybe we all made mistakes here, but we're family. Family forgives each other and moves on. Family also doesn't call each other leeches. I said I was sorry about that, Mom wailed. You're not sorry you said it. You're sorry it had consequences. Emma started getting agitated again. This is ridiculous. You're acting like we committed some major crime. So we hurt your feelings one time. Big deal. Get over it. And there it was, the real Emma coming out finally. One time, I asked. Emma, you called me selfish and jealous because I wouldn't pay for your boyfriend's vacation. Because you were being selfish. I was being selfish by not giving you $7,000 for a guy I'd never met? Yes. You have tons of money and you never spend it on anything fun. I spend it on you, all of you. I've been spending it on you for years. That's different. How is it different? Because that's just normal family stuff. I looked at Dad. Is it normal for your daughter to pay your mortgage? He shifted uncomfortably. We never asked you to do that. You're right. You never asked. You just accepted it and expected it to continue forever. Mom wiped her eyes. Claire, what do you want from us? We said we're sorry. We admitted we were wrong. What more can we do? Nothing. I don't want anything from you anymore. What does that mean? It means I'm done. No more mortgage payments. No more health insurance. No more family trips. No more random money for Emma. I'm done being your ATM. They all started talking at once again, but I held up my hand. I want you to leave now. Claire, you can't be serious about this, Dad said. I'm completely serious. But we're your family, Mom sobbed. Family doesn't treat each other the way you treated me. Emma got up and headed for the door. Fine. You want to be a bitter old spinster who cuts off her own family? Go ahead. But don't come crawling back to us when you realize how alone you are. She slammed the door behind her. Mom and Dad looked at me for another minute. Then Dad helped Mom up, and they headed for the door too. This conversation isn't over, Mom said before leaving. But for me, it was over. That was 4 months ago. I know from my cousin Jenny, who I actually have a good relationship with, that things haven't been going well for my parents. Dad had to get a part-time job at the hardware store to help cover the mortgage. He's 62 years old and working retail because they can't afford their house payment without my help. Emma's having problems too. She'd gotten used to my financial safety net and kept spending money like I was still covering her emergencies. Now she's got credit card debt up to her eyeballs and no way to pay it off. Jenny told me that Mom and Dad have been asking relatives for loans, but everyone knows they can't pay the money back, so they keep getting turned down. Do I feel bad about any of this? No, not even a little bit. They made their choice when they decided I was a leech. They made their choice when they laughed at me getting kicked out of Christmas dinner. They made their choice when they treated me like an ATM instead of a family member. I've got an extra $2,000 a month now that I'm not supporting them. I'm putting most of it into savings and investments. I bought myself a really nice vacation to Scotland that I've been wanting to take for years. Just me. No family drama, no one expecting me to pay for their trip. My house is peaceful. My bank account is growing. I don't have to deal with Emma's constant money requests, or Mom's guilt trips, or Dad's expectations. Sometimes people ask me if I miss them. The answer is no. I miss the family I thought I had, the one that loved me for me instead of my money. But that family never actually existed. I'm done being a leech, and I'm definitely done being an ATM.